Watch out for big talk. The old-time circus pitchman, with his gaudy clothes and cure-all snake oil medicine, is fast disappearing from the American scene. But another kind of pitchman is still with us. My national program, when adopted, will provide for your welfare from cradle to grave. It will guarantee the things you hold dearest in your hearts. Security, wealth for everyone. This fellow sure takes in a lot of territory. All this nation needs, my friends, is the right plan, the right formula. The right formula. Magic formula. Where have I heard that before? Sure, it's what a carnival pitchman says. I promise you that this magic cure-all with its secret formula will relieve all your aches and pains. And I promise you that if you will put your faith in my plan, I will lead you on the road to a new, abundant life. Sounds a lot like three other guys I remember too. I promise that the Roman Empire, in all its glory, will rise again. Put your faith in me. I promise you that my plan of National Socialism will bring a new day of abundance for all. I promise prosperity and security for the masses. Now my plan is a way to kid the public, maybe? What's that you say, my good man? I say it seems to me that every time people fall for a lot of big promises, they end up behind the 8 ball. Maybe you have a better program, my friend. I don't have a program at all. Just an idea that's worked pretty well in this country for a long time. What do you mean, Jim? Get up there, Jim. Let's hear what you have to say. Well, neighbors, the way I figure it, America's moved ahead fast because we haven't just sat back and listened to guys who make big promises. Thanks for your opinion. Now I was saying, my friends. Let him finish. Go on, Jim. Thanks, neighbors. Seems to me I remember something about a fellow way back before the American Revolution. He didn't have a penny to his name when he arrived in Philadelphia. Ah, such a sweet aroma to the nostrils of a hungry man. Fresh-baked bread. No government sponsored his Poor Richard's Almanac. I swear it, Ben. Never have I read such wisdom so wittily expressed. Nor his famous experiments with electricity. He didn't like King George's plan for the colonies, and he stuck his neck out by signing the Declaration of Independence. Now, gentlemen, we must all hang together, or assuredly, we shall all hang separately. Old Ben Franklin helped get the French into the Revolution on our side, and... save that stuff for a radio quiz program. Ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying... Wait a minute. You've been blowing for an hour about your plan. Well, I've got a couple more things to say, and I'm going to say them. There's another fellow I'm thinking of who led settlers westward in the early days. Looks like wild and perilous country, Daniel. Yes, but it's fertile, too. The Indians call it Kentucky, land of tomorrow. Nobody mapped out an easy way for Daniel Boone. He blazed trails for other folks to follow. I knew you'd bring up those good old pioneer days. Look, Bud, we're living in the age of machines, inventions. Okay, take inventions then. Nobody, including the government, thought a successful steamboat could be built. Give up the idea, Robert, before you're the laughingstock of the country. No, I'm going ahead. I know I can do it. Did you ever hear of such a thing? A boat driven by steam? Fulton's Folly. We must be there to see his great experiment in steam go up in smoke. But when the Clermont steamed up the Hudson, people changed their tune. I said he'd do it. You can't beat a man with faith in himself like Robert Fulton. I'd love to ride on his new steamboat. Aha! That's my point. Inventors should be encouraged. Now, under my plan, we'll provide for artists and inventors and composers, and reckon that under your plan, the government will raise geniuses like a hothouse grows tomatoes, eh? Can't see how it'd work. Take Stephen Foster. Now, there was a fellow who liked to do things his own way. Wonder what it would be like to jump on that train and go wherever it takes me. Foster was quite a rolling stone, but he wrote music we're still enjoying because he wrote it as he felt it, not as someone else dictated. The Swanee River, it has music in the very sound. And then there was a woman who first became famous in Civil War days. Nobody planned her life for her. Water. Please give me water. You mustn't have water, but I'll wet this towel and hold it to your lips. Sometimes I wonder where Miss Barton gets her strength. She's an angel of mercy. Following the war, Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross, but only after many years spent convincing people who laughed at the idea of a voluntary organization of mercy. But my friends, he's not telling you about all the people who start life with 2 strikes against him. A lot of underprivileged persons have done all right for themselves and their country. Like George Washington Carver. His parents were slaves. Yet, I'll do any kind of work, sir, to get an education. I'll do what I can for you, Carver. After long, hard years of effort, Carver became one of our greatest scientists. Dr. Carver, you've already discovered more than 300 uses for the ordinary peanut. Let's find more. Every new discovery helps the economy of our nation. All his life, Carver was a missionary for modern agriculture. I'm having mighty poor luck with my crops lately, Dr. Carver. Perhaps your soil is wearing out. If you rotate your crops, your land will keep on producing year after year. Note: the success of George Washington Carver exposes the big lie that blacks have never been given a fair chance in the so-called racist America. The truth is that black people have long had in America the opportunity to succeed to the full extent of their talents and capabilities. And here's another fellow who didn't start out with a silver spoon. He arrived here in 1848. There you are, lad. Your first look at America. The young immigrant grew to manhood and quickly foresaw the needs of our growing new nation. America could use a lot more steel, Andrew. And cheaper, better steel, too. He pioneered new methods of mass-producing steel at lower cost and helped America become a nation of steel. Swing her easy. A little more. Okay. Through his famous libraries, Americans became better informed and educated because of a man who didn't wait to have things done for him. Now wait a minute. You mean you aren't convinced yet? All right, here's one more story. It's about the man who said that genius is 2% inspiration and 98% perspiration. It's late, Thomas. Can't your assistant finish that for you? No, I'll do it myself. This bamboo may be just the filament I need for my light bulb. After years of patient experimenting, you finally found the right filament, Mr. Edison. Carbonized thread. It glows brightly, but it won't burn. Soon, networks of electricity began spreading across the country. Electric lights are so much brighter than the old gas lamps. Next thing, they'll be pulling horse cars with electricity. And today, mass production is powered by an electric system that began with a man who did things for himself and for the world. None of those people who pushed our country ahead waited for some big brain to figure things out for them. They weren't listeners or talkers. They were doers. And there were millions more like them. Baloney! They were big shots, every one of them. But not until they did something big. Aw, they were lucky. The average guy today can't do anything important. No? Let's ask our neighbor about that. You, Jack Wright. Do you do anything important? Gee, I don't know, Jim. I just run a filling station. That's right. You started it just 2 years ago. You gave such good service that pretty soon you had a couple of fellows working with you. And you were helping to make jobs for many oil workers besides. That's important. Check the oil, Mr. Martin? Tires okay, sir? Fellas, you're spoiling me. And you, Mrs. Janowski, do you think that you do anything important? Well, I'm raising 2 children. Now that's really something. And did you ever stop to think that housewives like yourselves do most of the buying for the country? When you shop around to find the best buys, you keep businessmen on their toes, competing to give you the most for your money, keeping quality up and prices down, so that everyone benefits. In my book, your job is plenty important. Now let's see, I think I'll try this brand. Now how about you, Ed? I hear your promotion at the plant came through. Yeah, Jim, I guess I'm lucky. It's not luck. You gave them a terrific idea that cut production costs so they could lower prices. Ted Taylor, remember where we bumped into each other last week? Why, sure, Jim. It was down at the school. We were registering to vote in the coming elections. It's the millions of votes of people like us, people our friend here says aren't important, that decide whether we'll have good or bad government. You tell him, Jim. We can vote any way we please. Nobody's sticking a gun in our ribs the way they do in the planned economies. Note, unless all sides agree in the sanctity of fair and honest elections, we simply won't have them anymore. That's right, Jim. If we want to vote for somebody who promises the moon, somebody who thinks he has a magic formula to cure every trouble, why, we can even vote for him. But, folks, don't ever believe that this big plan malarkey, this something-for-nothing idea is brand new. It's the oldest confidence game in the world. And it's flopped everywhere they've tried it. In ancient Rome, the planned state ended up in doles and disaster. In the Middle Ages, it brought wreck and ruin. And for Hitler's Germany, it meant disillusion and defeat. None of those planned economy pipe dreams for us. If there's any planning to do, we'll do it ourselves. We can get along without people who promise us the moon. Hear that? When will you birds realize that America's strength rises up from the people? It doesn't filter down from a few smart boys at the top who think they know all the answers. Well, neighbors, that's all I have to say. I'd better be getting home for supper. But my friends, I promise you, a good American citizen will always watch out for big talk, keep informed on issues of the day, register and vote thoughtfully, guard his freedoms and the freedoms of others. National Association of Manufacturers. Note: socialists never give up. Instead, today, socialism goes by a variety of new names. Emergency authorization, climate change, the Great Reset, Build Back Better, universal basic income, globalism, one world government, Agenda 2030.